Anyway, you guys ready to get in this video? I'm going to start at the beginning, and then we'll jump around.
I'll let people know too, just in case too. Like Tim and I are taking an exhaustive list of all the lies and mistakes that they make in this debate, and we're on Inspiring Philosophy Academy. We're gonna go through that stuff as much as we can. There's so literally, you guys, Mike, I complained to you about this, right? Like on Saturday, I looked at it and I put it away for the first 6 minutes because it's like the rate of lies is insane. It was like 10 per minute. I'm exaggerating there, but it was insane. I had to stop so much. Sorry, I'm triggered.
Now, are you sure it's lies or not just like misinformed?
Yeah, I'm the prior probability that it's lies is very high.
One thing to like kind of be charitable, I'll say the parts I did watch of this, I have to say like everybody was really civil, and that was kind of cool to see. Is that you guys really discussed? Maybe towards the end, I'm wrong, but from what I've seen.
So just for context, this was the third debate of the day filmed. It seemed like they were getting a little tired. The one we filmed prior was the one on the Islamic dilemma. And that one might come out next, but then the last one was my 1v4. And I don't know what happened. Like I was tired, I had a headache, but then like when we got started, I felt like a rush of energy and just was like ready to go in. Like, I mean, it was so then I just went in, and it just felt like they were tired and done because they started conceding stuff. They were conceding stuff to me, and I was like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. So yeah, they oh boy, there's some stuff in that 1v4. And it was supposed to be a 1v5, but Cora didn't show. Like the last minute she called off, which was very weird considering she was already in town for this.
It's probably because it was you.
Well, that's the thing. We didn't know who was going to be there till we showed up. I knew who the Christians were. We didn't know who the Muslims were. They knew who the Muslims were, but they didn't know we were going to be there. And then they were doing some lying. I saw later that they lied. They were lied to, and it was told the front man's going to be Bell, which is not true. Like we went back and checked I asked Shayla, and she went back and checked the text, and she's like, no, we never said that. So it tells you they're coping. They did not want to debate us. Very interesting stuff. So anyway, let's dive into this.
Did the historical Jesus teach the Trinity? So as Muslims, we would be looking at the historical accounts of Jesus, which arguably could be the Synoptics and John. And from that, we would say that nowhere in the Synoptics and John is there anything where Jesus is teaching any kind of triune doctrine.
You catch that? It's over.
Synoptics and John. And you'll see how the source material changes.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. That's the thing, though. That's the thing, though. They never actually like said that we can't use these because they kept going back and forth. It was completely contradictory, illogical. They weren't making sense. So they opened the debate by saying we can use the Synoptics and John. So that's what we stuck to. And we said, okay, we'll use stuff that's in the Synoptics and John. Okay, great.
Doctrine that you guys believe in.
So just to be clear, we agree, historic Jesus, we're going to go to the Gospels and to understand who that was.
Yeah, just the Jesus quotation material. We're not granting that necessarily the disciples actually wrote the Gospels.
That's fine. Red letters. Red letters. Right. So we can agree that's where we're going to go to.
Right.
Sound good to you?
That sounds excellent.
That sounds excellent.
So
what's that?
What's their contention with like okay, we want the historical Jesus, we're going to go red letter Jesus only, but then they say we can't trust what the authors are saying, but it's the authors who are recording the red letters.
Yeah, I brought that up.
It changes more from there. You'll see. Now, John, to answer your question really quickly, right? Like, in the critical scholarship, there's going to be a distinction between like historical Jesus sayings and then what the gospel authors portray the historical Jesus sayings to be. So they're going to try to dispute whether a particular saying is even authentic or if the meaning is authentic in certain places, stuff like that.
Right.
And so this is like the strong scholarly way of interpreting what the Muslims are doing. I'm really skeptical that they even know the scholarship that they're trying to appeal to very well. As you'll soon see, like it's just all over the place.
But the problem is like the Christology of like John, like that comes from the red letter. Most of like his Christology is like what Jesus says in the Gospel of John. So them rejecting that makes no sense.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like you can the farewell discourse in John is where one of the clearest places you're going to get the teaching of the Trinity. You have the Father, you have Jesus clearly claiming to be divine, claiming to be one substance with the Father. He who has seen me has seen the Father, and then the Spirit proceeds from the Father. And it's the same as if Jesus comes to you. It's like this is the Trinity, guys. Just read John 14 to 16. Include John 17. Like, it's the Trinity. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, we're fine with that. But then again, then they start changing their mind because it didn't work, they realized.
Well, they're going to
Yeah,
shift.
specifically
They're
if
going
it
to
could be
shift even more here.
corroborated to him. So
Oh, yeah.
there are certain aspects like that we're not going to grant as it pertains to the red letters still. But we'll get to that when you guys get to those
All
arguments.
right, so here it is, guys. We can use the red letters of Jesus, but except when it disagrees with them, then they can't use the red letters.
Yeah.
So would you
Uh,
agree that
Wait,
Jesus
wait,
does?
wait. Here's a really interesting question too, right? For the particular historical Jesus saying that they want to point to, Itachi wants to say if it's corroborated. But now you have to ask the question: what's it corroborated by? If you're following the historical Jesus scholarship, the corroboration is going to be through other synoptic material and or John or the rest of the New Testament. So if you're going to reject the things that are pointing to high Christology on the basis of a lack of corroboration, but then say you need corroboration for the things that you're going to reject outright anyway because you believe in Islam, then you just don't even have a methodology, right? You're just what are you doing?
Okay. So let's start with the first thing. Does Jesus teach that he is God?
You can give your argument, right?
absolutely.
We can rebut it.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, there are several places where Jesus demonstrates that he is God. So, for example, in Mark chapter 2, he says that he is the Lord of the Sabbath. Okay, we know from Exodus that Yahweh was the Lord of the Sabbath.
Yeah, the Sabbath stuff is actually really bad when we get into that too. It's actually
The
really
synoptic material, we have him claiming a divine title called Lord, Kitty Kitty. And as scholars like Robert Bowman Jr. have pointed out, that is a title only attributed to Yahweh in Greek texts from that time or prior. It's throughout the Septuagint, some apocryphal texts. Jesus claims that title for himself. And then, of course, in John, it opens by saying that he is God, and then he affirms that he is. Places like John 5, where he has the same abilities that the Father has, or John 8. Anything you want to add? You two want to add?
Should we break it? That's a good
point
my points start.
Yeah, maybe
Place to start. Okay.
Yeah, I think some just general responses. One would be when in Mark 2, when Jesus says that he's Lord over Sabbath, the Son of Man is Lord over Sabbath. We just would say, historically speaking, in the Palestinian first century context, he's referring to the Son of Man just generally refers to humanity. Because then we see in Mark 2, 23 to 27,
What?
he starts
No.
quoting halachic tradition, like in Mark 2, 27.
Okay,
He says
this
that-
is where all the lies
Wait,
are happening
wait.
so fast. Okay,
Wait, hold on. I want to go back. I want to get the reference. I just want to
Yeah.
hear this again.
responses. One would be when in Mark 2, when Jesus says that he's Lord over Sabbath, the Son of Man is Lord over Sabbath. We just would say, historically speaking, in the Palestinian first century context, he's referring to the Son of Man just generally refers.
All right. So anyway, what did you want? What you wanted to respond to this, Stan? Did you?
I mean,
did
just
we
the
get-
first thing I want to say, because he made a very hard claim there, right? And he said that the Aramaic for Son of Man means just humanity. That's not true. It's referring to humans or humanity is within the semantic range, right? But that doesn't just mean that it's just gonna be humans at all times, right? Like that's just not true.
Hold on. So you're telling me Jesus wasn't walking around saying, the human is here?
Yes, that's exactly what he was doing.
That's what he was
So-
doing through all the Gospels.
So wait, did you want to respond to the Halak tradition thing, or did you want me to go?
Well, I was gonna wait. Well, I guess yeah, because he says
No.
so many things. I don't even know how to. I don't like. This is one of the problems with this video, dude. Like for anybody listening, what you're about to hear like a million different things going wrong in the span of like 20 seconds. So maybe we just let it go and whatever happens happens.
Okay.
Next, we see
Well, let me go back. Where did we freeze?
I don't remember.
that even man is made over, or the Sabbath is made for man, not man made for Sabbath. He's quoting Yoma 85b and other like texts that can be found in like the Dead Sea Scrolls have the same implied meaning. Next, we see you referenced the double lock, or Kyrios.
Well,
in
no, I
Matthew
want to.
Okay,
do
we
it
can stop
before we do
there.
that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Okay. So, Son of Man, I already covered that. He mentioned Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay. Wait, did they cover yet why they're interpreting this Mark II passage the way they are?
I think so. But I mean, Tractate Yoma dates to around 200 to like
Yeah,
220 CE.
the Mishnaic layer. Yeah,
The
the
idea
Mishnaic
that
layer is
Jesus would
200.
be quoting that is absurd. It postdates Jesus. This is how bad this is.
Yes, the Mishnaic layer's about 200 AD. They're mentioning the Dead Sea Scrolls, but like me saying this isn't going to be especially pertinent, at least not yet, because they haven't said what they need to say. But the basic idea is when they're trying to frame Jesus saying the Son of Man is Lord over the Sabbath, they want to say Jesus is saying humans are the lords over the Sabbath because the Sabbath is made for man, not man for the Sabbath, right? And then they're saying Yoma also in the Dead Sea Scrolls. The problem is Yoma, the rabbinic literature, and some things that we find in the Dead Sea Scrolls actually disagree with each other. So when you look in like places like the Damascus document, it's actually going to tell you, hey, don't even save somebody. Don't even save somebody on the Sabbath, right? Then in Yoma, it's disagreeing with things we find in a Damascus document. In Yoma, though, it's not saying that men are Lord over the Sabbath. That is just a horrible interpretation of what's happening there.
Right.
This is like more of a humanitarian thing. It's saying, hey, like if there's somebody struggling on the Sabbath, go save the life. The life is more important than the Sabbath.
So he just flat out lied.
Yes, and this is also pertinent to like places in Matthew's gospel, because Jesus quotes a tradition that's probably floating around that we know is around because of the Dead Sea Scrolls, where there are other Dead Sea Scroll fragments that talk about like animals being lost in a ravine or something like that on a Sabbath, and it's okay to go save them. And in Matthew's gospel, Jesus asked the Pharisees, which one of you, if your sheep was dropped in a ravine on the Sabbath, would not go save it? Like, there's so much happening in these traditions, and every way that they try to represent it is just wrong.
Mm-hmm. Were you going to say something, John?
No, I was going to call Than a nerd, but
yeah, I looked at Yoma 85b. There was nothing in there that says the Son of Man, which humanity is Lord of the Sabbath.
Yeah,
I can't
here
find. I read this like twice. I have it up again. What is he specifically quoting in here? If I put this on the screen, what do you think he's trying to refer to?
Wait, what was the question?
So if I put Yoma 85b on here, where do you think he's getting this from?
Getting what from?
Where he thinks Mark 2 is referring to what's in here.
He's look, there's the what would a smart person be doing approach, and what would a liar be doing approach. I don't know.
Pretend you're a
liar
Muslim.
would be doing.
Pretend you're a Muslim.
Guys, for those watching, there's nothing in here about the Son of Man being humanity and humanity being Lord of the Sabbath. And again, this is around at earliest like 200 AD. Jesus cannot be quoting it. So he's either incredibly ignorant or he's lying. But I mean, like, this is just flat out wrong. I mean, like, sir, talk about the Shabbat here. I don't see anything about the Son of Man being Lord of the Sabbath. What is he talking about?
Yeah.
It's absurd. And he says he's quoting it, not alluding. Did he say, he said quoting, right?
Go back just in case. No,
Because
I got the transcript.
Mark 2, 23, 27, he starts quoting halachic tradition, like in Mark 2, 27, when he says that that even man is made over, or the Sabbath is made for man, not man made for Sabbath. He's quoting Yoma 85b and other like texts that can be found in like the Dead Sea Scrolls have the same.
So look, go back to Yoma and see if there's anything that is man is for the Sabbath. Like
wait, did he say 85a or b?
B.
B.
He might have mispronounced. Might have meant A.
No. John, don't you know what about Sierra Pro here? If you mispronounce, you don't articulate something properly, then there's no grace with them. Everything they say,
True.
That's what they do to us. If you say this is what I meant, they go, no, it isn't. You're lying. So the same thing. So he's lying. We got to use his own standard against him. But yeah, I have no clue what he thinks he's referring to. There's nothing in here.
I gotta tell you guys a quick story. Little John was live last night, and he accidentally said that his dad impregnated his wife when he was referencing something else. And the Muslims just took it and ran with it. Just
No way, they're
ran
clipping
with
that?
it. Yeah. Yeah. They just.
This is what we're dealing with, folks. So again, they say we lie, they say we're dishonest, and it's like they're taking stuff out of context all the time. It's insane. But this is just flat out wrong. Let's put the passage of Mark 2 up here and just like Joe what he's thinking of. So to start with the words of Jesus here at the bottom. Am I in Mark 2? Yep. Okay, good. So have you heard or have you he said to them, have you never read what David did when he was in need and was hungry, and he and those who were with him, how he entered the house of God in the time of Abiathar the high priest, and ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for any but the priest to eat, and also gave it to those who were with him. And he said to them, Sabbath was made for man, and man not for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is even Lord of the Sabbath. Let me see if I can. I don't know, man. It's this boggles my mind.
So the implication here is that like man is Lord of the Sabbath. Then the question would be, before Christ, who filled that Lord role? Like if that's what their viewpoint is.
I mean, there's even just issues with the Greek text in general here. But again, like it's so hard to actually pinpoint what their position is because they keep changing it all the time anyway, right? Yeah. They're going to point to Mark, and then they're going to be like, yeah, this particular saying of Jesus is authentic, and this is how you interpret it. And the thing is, like, you can't actually test against their theory in any meaningful way because they're going to go, well, look at the way Mark says it. I'm going to go, look at the way Mark says
this is what I think they think they're referring to. This implies that the Shabbat is given into your hands, and you were not given to it to die on account of the Shabbat.
Yeah.
That's what I think they're referring to. But that's not
it's a humanitarian thing.
Yeah, that's not a quote. And
it's not verbatim.
Well,
and it has nothing to do with what Jesus is talking about.
Nothing to do with what Jesus is talking about. Yeah.
Well, what they think Jesus is talking about, I should say.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. But it doesn't matter. We'll get into and we'll show in the video.
Implied meaning. Next, we see you referenced the double lock, or kyrios in Matthew 7.
Kyrios.
Yeah. We just would say it's a double vocative. It's not actually saying it's Adonai Yahweh. You have to assert that Jesus actually elsewhere claims that he's first divine for the interpretation of that to actually be Adonai Yahweh. Otherwise, we would just say that it's just saying Lord.
I wanted to get back to this, but we never got to circle back to it. That is circular reasoning. That's assuming your conclusion.
You have to prove Jesus I'm wrong in order to say that I'm wrong.
Yeah. Jesus can't be using a divine title because you've not shown Jesus is divine. That's their argument. That's how dumb this is.
So then he just conceded it is a divine title.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to get back to this. We never were able to get back to this, unfortunately. But yeah, it's so bad because it's basically him saying this doesn't show Jesus is using this as a divine title because you've not shown Jesus is divine. That's absurd. Or
this is what I feel like Dawa apologetics is. Find as many out of context references as you can. Run that argument as fast and as quick as you can, as get as many clips as you can. Once Christians figure it out, move on to the next one.
Oh, yeah. No, that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Like his whole tactic here, my suspicion is I'm going to come up with really obscure Jewish texts. I'm going to make references to obscure Jewish traditions that these Christians maybe have never thought of or studied in depth. And I'm going to get away with lies, at least on the spot. And then people are going to correct him. And then he's going to gaslight people. And then they're going to move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he basically, that's just so circular. I don't even know, but what are you going to do?
Referring to himself as a human Lord twice.
Okay, so let's start with the Mark thing. So
what?
Mark 2.
What? His conclusion is that Jesus is like, he's just referring to himself as Lord twice.
That's he's never even heard the argument.
That's his conclusion. Oh, no. Listen, guys, Jesus, hey, I'm Lord. What does that mean? We'll just say it once. Nah, I need to say it twice. It's so good I had to say it twice. Like, that's so stupid. Are you kidding me?
And again, there are no texts from the time of Jesus or prior in Greek where anyone is called Lord, other than Jesus and Yahweh. No one. There's none. Apocryphal, pseudepigrapha, letters, Josephus, Philo, nothing from the time of Jesus or prior in any Greek text is anyone called Lord, Lord, other than Jesus and Yahweh. And it's throughout the Septuagint, like Deuteronomy 3, Psalm 108, Ezekiel. If you go through Incarnate Christ and his critics, they point out a bunch of places it's in the Psalms. You see cutie. So that's a very clear indication Jesus is claiming to be divine.
Well, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like historically, anytime somebody said they were like Lord of Lords or King of Kings, that the implication there is that, yeah, there are kings out there, but I'm the best. I'm the top one. And so like Jesus says, yeah, Lord of Lords, I'm the best. I'm the top one. But he's just going to say, he said it twice. So my question would be then, why doesn't Muhammad call himself prophet? He's just so good. He'd just be prophet.
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Lord, Kitty is a divine title. No one can show him. This is why this is a powerful argument. I've seen Unitarians, Muslims try to wrestle with this. They come up with the most ad hoc excuses. This is probably one of the best places we can go to show Jesus claim to be divine, claim to be Yahweh, because he's directly calling himself something that only Yahweh does.
How does that open? It opens with the story of Jesus healing a paralyzed man. Does he identify himself as the Son of Man in Mark 2?
Yeah, in Mark 2, he can identify himself as the Son of Man in places, but as a general reference to himself or humanity as a whole.
Okay, so where does Jesus ever specifically say Son of Man refers to humanity as a whole?
So I'm aware that the gospel authors use the Son of Man and reinterpret it to explicitly be about Jesus. However, we're arguing from a historical context. And in that historical context, in a first century Palestinian or Aramaic language, as we see multiple scholars like Abel Taconic,
so we have to still go to the Gospels to understand how.
But we're arguing it from a historical.
Did you guys catch that? He admitted that in the Gospels, Jesus is the Son of Man. But he just said earlier, when Jesus says in Mark 2, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath, he said Jesus is not talking about himself. Do you see how they change their argument depending on what they're saying? When we brought up Mark 2, no, that Jesus is just talking about humanity. But now he's saying, yeah, gospel authors say Jesus is the Son of Man. Dude, you just contradicted yourself.
Oh, man.
Also, he says he has to read it from like the context of like Jewish culture. Son of Man just referenced like humanity in general, except Jewish culture had the expectation of this messianic figure from Daniel, which had this messianic figure being called Son of Man. So how is he getting this understanding that it just is like a vague reference of humanity? Yeah. So my question is, he's trying to say that like Son of Man is a reference to humanity, and it's integrated into Jewish culture. And so we have to understand it from like the Jewish culture perspective. The problem with that is the Jewish culture perspective knew Daniel 9 and had this expectation of like this messianic figure called one like a son of man. So where does he get this idea that it's only for like a human aspect, not some sort of like anointed figure?
Right. Well, dude, and here's the thing, like he's again quoting scholars. He quotes Abby Deconic, not Abel. There's so much happening here. The Jewish culture is not doing what he thinks it's doing. I don't even know where he's getting this idea from. Like, I wish he would. I actually wish that he would actually make these freaking arguments instead of just being like, well, this really obscure scholar here and this really obscure source here says this and it agrees with what I'm saying, but doesn't actually ever make the argument. What is the Jewish context that he's referring to? Well, we don't know what he thinks it is. He just says Jewish context and just does magical hand waving, opaque moves.
But yeah, there's no one Jewish context. Like, there's multiple viewpoints in Judaism, just like there is like in Christianity now. They'll scream at us. There's 40,000 denominations, which is not true, by the way. But there are different viewpoints and different ideas back then as well.
Yeah.